Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? Hope you're well. I am fine. It's a Wednesday. All right, we start off with gold, and that's part of the topic, and we'll get to football very soon. But I know this is on everybody's mind, including over 3036. Everybody says, "Oh, silver's got to go." Silver ain't going anywhere until COMEX blows up. Gold, I don't know what the hell's going on. It's not that the derivatives going down. It's where's the China buying and the Russian buying now. At 6 o'clock, the U.S. is out of it. This should be China. Now I notice it. It got back to 26.20 and then gets shot down about 6 a.m. all the way. The U.S. just doing now. Keep in mind, this is a game that is not what people think. This is nobody selling gold. This is the U.S. getting out of their derivative positions, option positions. And I've explained that, but we'll do it again. If you're Eddie Murphy in trading places and orange juice goes from 100 to 140, you sell it at 140. And then as it goes down, you buy it back at 29. That's the concept. So the U.S. has a bunch of derivatives that they're fucked on because they thought it would go down and it kept going up and up and up and got to 27.90. So the U.S. is basically fucked because they can't buy the derivatives back that they sold at the price they need to get out of them. So if they bought them at 26.50, they need 2600 to get out of them. Well, they could never do that. That's what this is. This is the U.S. This is the last stage, getting out of their options that they fucked up on, that they never should have been selling, because everybody is buying gold. Gold's going to the moon. Gold's not going down. So this is this is what's happening now. So this is not nobody wants gold. This is not they're selling gold. Oh, we're going to be in Bitcoin. Oh, the dollar, Trump's in office. The dollar will be fine now. No, the dollar's still fucked. It's still printed to death. You still have 150 trillion and you still don't have the petrodollar. This is gone. Goodbye. This is already gone. Goodbye. Which leaves you with the only option, gold. Bitcoin, as I preached the last few days, is not an option. It is not money. It is like saying we're all going to use Mickey Mantle now to buy our groceries. All the Mickey Mantle cards. Oh, I got a Mahomes card. This is now money. Well, it isn't. But that's what Bitcoin is. Only it's worse because at least this is Mahomes and there's a Mantle card and there's a Bobby Orr card and excuse me. And there's a Rolex. At least you have physical ownership of them. And that's what Bitcoin isn't even, doesn't give you physical ownership of it. Okay, so if Bitcoin hit what, 85, 90,000. First, if it's in dollars. Second, if that Coinbase goes bankrupt, you can't get your money anyway. So it's worth it, but but you can't get your money out. Doesn't sound like a real good deal. Okay, so you're a big Bitcoin guy. You don't know why it goes up, but you know it's going up. You know gold doesn't move, so you don't want to be in gold, even though you don't understand anything about gold. You're in the stock market because you don't understand the dollar's collapse and the stock market's collapse. And you're still in the banks because you don't realize the banks aren't going to give you the money when it starts collapsing, which will be very soon. As I show you China videos of China collapsing, that's what's going to happen here. So understand that this is derivative gold and silver price. It has nothing to do with the free market. It has nothing to do with the Montana card being worth 110,000 and the rice card being worth 120,000, because in the market, in a free market, that's what they go for, PSA 10s. But this is not a free market with gold. This is not what gold's going for physical gold. This is a bullshit thing. This is the buy of the century. 25, 6. Like, why is it still going down now? This is the US is out of it. Why is Asia going down? Nothing makes sense. But they're just all they're doing is cleaning out their options that they put in. So they're selling their options out. That's why it keeps going down. It's nothing. It's a huge buying opportunity because we know the dollar is gone. They don't want to admit it because then they have to admit, like, they don't want to admit they fucked up with the Ukraine war. They don't want to admit they fucked up getting out of Afghanistan, and they don't want to admit that the dollar's gone and it's been inflated. I saw two things by two different Federal Reserve governors saying, "Oh, inflation's down, it's okay because we're the Fed, and if we tell you that, you must believe us because you're idiots. You'll believe anything we say." Sorry, I'm trying to kill this. Anyway, I just had a lot of Celtic salt and cayenne pepper. Don't eat cayenne pepper just by itself. It's a little bit hot. Anyway, this is what it is. Okay, it's the dollar's gone. Trump comes in, and everything that they say is bullshit. Well, the dollar's up because Trump's in. Bullshit. Trump, Elon Musk. Who the fuck is this idiot? Trump's tariffs will cause a mass depression. It is not good for the dollar. Trump is going to keep printing. The only hope he's got is to come to a gold-backed currency. And unless he's got a lot of gold in his basement, we don't have any gold in the U.S. The Fed doesn't. Fort Knox doesn't. Sorry, there's no U.S. gold in U.S. Right? It's like Canada. It's like UK. There isn't any. So all you see here going down is the the guys getting out of the derivatives. That's all it is. So don't worry. I'm going to go buy. I get a paycheck tomorrow. Now I'm going to go buy more. I mean, this is like we know it's going to 3,000. Now, well, listen. I'll be curious what Mark McGuire says on Friday, and if Egon says anything. But basically, I was listening to this old guy, and he's saying, he just repeats what I say, and he just says, "Well, this is the sale of the century. We're lucky that gold's down. We can buy more of it." So understand that Trump or God all himself cannot turn this positive. That of 36 trillion hasn't gone anywhere because Trump's the president. The heavy inflation hasn't gone anywhere because Trump's the president. Trump can't do shit. If Elon Musk comes in and lowers the government, so they're trying to probably Trump's method is to cut government spending. Good luck trying to do that because you're not going to just get rid of these government agencies. He wants to get rid of the education, the schools. That'll never happen. It's a good thought, but it'll never happen. The DEA, the new travel thing because of 9/11. They'll never get rid of it. I mean, it's a good thought. He means well, supposedly, but Trump won't do that. So that's what you have. Big government. It's going to spend a lot of money that you don't have. You take in only a little bit in tax and you spend triple, quadruple. It's a $5 trillion deficit adds to your debt. So 36 trillion turns to 40. Who knows what Biden's cooking up at the end of his to make, booby trap everything. Just be careful. But the only play is wealth preservation, as they like to say. I call it buying gold because it's the smart play. It's the Roman play. That's all you can do. You cannot stay in dollars, and there is no dollar to go to. You can't run to the British pound or the Swiss franc. they're all heavily inflated. They're all worthless. So your only play is gold and silver. Bitcoin, as we know, is not money. I doubt it's 21 million, and I don't think that's limited anyway. And I just think that this is people are being Madoff, right? It's the same thing. What Madoff's Ponzi scheme at the end was $60 billion. People kept putting their money in. How did that work out? Well, we didn't. We asked him, and he says, if you got to ask, then you got to get out. And oh no, we like the 15% because we think it's a Ponzi scheme, but as long as we're getting paid, we don't really give a fuck. And that's what you have with Bitcoin. It is a Ponzi scheme. It is run by the Russian mafia. Do I need to say much more? So, granted, the price is 90,000 now. It'll go to 100,000. Guess what? If you don't get out, you're fucked because it's going to go to zero and you're going to lose all your money because when the dollar goes out, there is no value in Bitcoin or your house or your car or your cards or your Rolex until the gold-backed currency comes out by the bricks. That will be the key. So I think what happens is, I think what you're seeing, if I'm using my logic properly, is people are scared shitless because they know Putin's coming out with it, I believe, December 1st. And so they know they're fucked. Their only hope is to just knock it down until Putin announces gold-backed currency, in which case it goes through the roof and they'll be fucked. They'll never get down this low again. So, we might see a little bit more. Go buy more gold. I mean, I was ready to pay 3,000 an ounce. Now it looks like I can get it for 100 over, 26.72. Okay, fine. Even if it's 26, then I got to pay 27. I'm happier than hell. I just want to buy gold. I don't care what price it is because I'm being Rumpelstiltskin. I'm changing crap dollar for real gold. I'm turning it into gold. And I highly advise you to do the same. So do not panic that it's going down. It's going down for all the wrong reasons, and none of the reasons make any sense why you'd be selling gold when you should be buying it. The dollar is gone, but see, they're all Keynesians. They don't want to say it or they don't know it. They're too stupid. So nobody's really saying, oh yeah, I buy stocks, buy this, I retire. But they're not saying, oh, wait, the dollar's worthless. So your retirement in stocks is going to be worthless. So you're fucked if you go into the stock market and rely on dividends for your retirement. Or if you have a 401k, like Luke's friend who has 4 million monopoly money, and when the shit hits the fan, he'll have nothing. But everybody in gold and silver will survive fine. All right, so that's my thing. Please do not worry. Yes, it's going down 25.71 now. It's just a number. The idea is to accumulate as much gold and silver as you can at these prices before it hits 10,000, right? We know where it's headed. It's sort of like a football game. The Lions were down, 23-10 at halftime, whatever. Or Kansas, let's say Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Kansas City's going to win the fucking game, so they're down 10 points. Fine. Are you worried? Or they're not going to win? No, of course they're going to win. They're just down 10. It's the same thing here. Okay, it's 25.71. Okay. Is it going to 2,000? Hell no. It's going to 3,500. So we know the end of the game, right? Kansas City is going to win the Super Bowl. We knew that. How they do it, we don't know, but they're down and then coming back up. And it's the same thing here. It's going down, but it's going to come back up. It's just a huge buying opportunity. I think it's for me because I started the job. Now I can start buying gold, and I'm able to buy it $200 or $300 cheaper. So I think I'm the reason this is going down. Silver at 30.34 makes no fucking sense. Why they even are keeping this COMEX is beyond me, so they could do derivative pricing. Really? How the fuck is this still going on? So we know it's price fixed. We know it's derivative. We know it is not free market. I was listening to something where they said, oh, the ETF golds are going down and they're putting them into Bitcoin. I hate to break it to you, but gold ETFs do not affect this gold price. Hate to break it to you. All right. I'm going to show you one. Mark Faber. I hate when it does this to me.
Studies showing high cholesterol in people with higher cholesterol, less cardiovascular incident.
Maybe some rich individuals who say,
we're going to listen to a few minutes of Mark Faber.
Yes, I mean, for me, it's surprising that equities, gold equities, the miners have done as badly as they've done. But I've written about this repeatedly, and I was kept on saying, the miners are not acting particularly well, you know, compared to the price of gold.
Yeah.
And I wonder why. And I don't have the precise answer because
Okay, I have the precise answer. So everybody thinks this guy is really good. He can't answer a simple question. It's because there's no demand for minor stocks. There's no demand for stocks. It's just being pumped in by the government into the big 4 or 5 stocks. And there's nobody wants gold and stocks because they're all in the others because the people who are buying stocks are completely fucking idiots. That's why everything works by Austrian economics, Adam Smith. If there's no demand for the gold stock, the price can't go up. There's no demand. People are either buying Bitcoin or they're buying the physical gold. I think a lot of people are buying the physical gold, not the ETFs and not the gold stocks, because we all know the stock market's going to crash. Why would I want to be in gold stocks? This fucking idiot doesn't understand this. Unbelievable.
When the gold price goes up 30%, the miners go up 100% or something like this.
Sure,
but
they do.
Yet. Now the gold bugs tell me it will happen. Who knows? Maybe.
But I do wonder sometimes. Obviously, one of my main fears in this space is the left get criticised for being an echo chamber on a lot of issues, like trans issues or other social issues. And I do start to wonder now that we're in this position of if us gold bugs are in an echo chamber or not, because it has been quite disappointing to see these equities not perform under such strong gold price conditions. Something that I was talking to Grant about earlier was, do we need to see, like the big seven, the magnificent seven, do we need to start seeing them fall before we start seeing inflows into things like gold equities? Because why go into a gold equity when you can get into Nvidia, who seem to be just trading up and up and up?
Yeah. You're raising a very important question here. We can agree among, say, economists and market observers that liquidity is not tight. If liquidity was tight, the markets wouldn't be making new highs. No. And if liquidity was tight,
they're making new highs because the government is buying all the stocks to make it look like the economy's doing well, which it's not. That's why this guy doesn't get the price fixing. Oh my God.
Bonds would rally because people would have the feeling that the government or the central bank is doing something to fight inflation. But since they cut interest rates in the US twice already, long-term bond yields have not gone down, but they've gone up. So it's a sign that the bond market is concerned about future inflation. Now we have this inflated asset values, and the money flows whenever something is moving. People go into that because they have social media. They know the whole world is in NVIDIA. Yeah. That's why it's the biggest company nowadays in the world. And the Chinese buy NVIDIA and gamble in NVIDIA, and the Hong Kong Chinese, and in Switzerland, the retirees are buying NVIDIA, and everybody. And they're also buying cryptocurrencies because they move. And the gold market didn't move for a long time, so people didn't buy it. This year it's moved up, but if you look at the buying of gold, it's not by the individuals.
No.
You're
Meaningfully,
wrong.
there's no mania.
It is by the individuals. How the fuck would this guy know? We go to the gold store all the time. What does he mean it's not by the individual? It just doesn't get noticed. If I were to go buy 100 ounces tomorrow, who's going to notice? Nobody notices. So these guys are all wrong when they say the individual is not buying. How about it at Costco? They sell out. What the fuck are these guys talking about? It's just when the central banks buy, they're buying James Bond 400-ounce bars. I'm buying 2 ounces.
In the gold market from individuals.
Yeah.
The buying, the accumulation has been in the hands of central banks. And maybe some rich individuals who say, okay, I have $1 billion. I also believe we are in a financial bubble and it's not sustainable and the deficits and this, that. I take 100 million and I put it in gold, physical gold.
Nobody's doing that.
On the individual level, there hasn't been much gambling in gold.
I guess that makes sense in a way as well, doesn't it? Because if the demand isn't coming from the individuals in the rally of gold prices coming from central banks, these central banks that are interested in gold aren't going to be buying gold equities. But you'd think as a knock-on effect of the central banks buying these gold equities, you would have seen some more individual excitement on the equity side of things anyway, right? But I guess that, again, we'll see if that happens.
All right.
You're managing money at the moment. You're writing a lot, especially on this market as it stands. You've been writing about the gold market in particular quite substantially. I asked Grant, Grant was on the channel earlier as well, and I asked Grant this. Do you think there are any ramifications for gold in particular, given Trump's now in power, versus if the outcome was coming? I mean, we're already seeing a bit of a slump in the gold price last couple of days. I think latest price as of now is around 1620, which is quite a fairly sharp fall from where we were. What do you think?
That's UK price, not US price.
Do you think the outcome of the gold price and the outcome of gold performance has fundamentally changed because of this new presidential election?
Yes, but I believe that the initial move, the downward correction, and the strength in the US dollar are actually terminal moves. In other words, they will be reversed.
Okay.
Trump, if you look at him and his personality and his history of borrowing money and never repaying his debts, it's actually very bullish for the gold price and for precious metals. So I would use, if I didn't have any gold, I have my gold already and I've had it for 40 years. But if I didn't have any gold, I would buy here on this correction. It's a gift of God.
Well, yeah, we've had other people on the show before, which is it's either a gift of God or in terms of gold itself, a gift of God or celestial dust, right? As in old stars breaking up. But in terms of, right, so you're essentially saying there then that in terms of if you're looking a bit further forward, it doesn't really matter if it's Trump or Kamala, it's the same outcome. Gold price needs to go up, too much debt. You're not a believer in this world that Trump has espoused, in that tariffs can increase the amount of money coming into the US, and then you'll also have this Department of Government Efficiency that can reduce some of the waste and try and balance the books a little bit more. You don't see that as a possibility?
I know many people, they were businessmen and successful businessmen. They went into the government and they tried to rationalize it. Not possible. It's very difficult.
Okay.
That I would emphasize. And number two, the tariffs is a horrible economic measure. And it will probably accelerate the relative decline of the US with the other countries in the world. And in my opinion, it will be negative for the US economy. So it's not going to be positive. And it will necessitate more money printing because they have no other option. So actually, I think that of all the candidates, Trump is a favorable asset for the gold market.
Okay.
All right. Now everybody can feel better. So as I'm saying, it's almost there's a twist here that why Trump won, because he shouldn't have won, right? It was going to be Kamala Harris was going to win because that's what George Soros wanted. And then Trump somehow wins. And now it starts to make sense. He'll kill the country far quicker than Kamala Harris will, because he'll do these tariffs, which will put us in a depression like 1929, 1930, the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. Everything will cost more because you're killing competition. You're making the Chinese who are selling you things at $30 will now be $60 because of the tariff, and the U.S. company making it for $40 that can't compete can now raise their price to $60 to $59, and who gets screwed? The consumer. So if it's golf clubs, tennis rackets, gym shoes, whatever, all our prices have just gone up with this moron in charge. Trump doesn't know what he's doing. He's not conservative. He's not Austrian economics or classical. Anybody that would do tariffs is not good. So it's almost now we see why Soros let him win, because he's going to kill the country a lot quicker than Harris would. So this is now 90%. Well, this is worth 1%. It's not worth zero. So buy your gold before these tariffs and everything hits, and it's just going to be a nightmare. But okay, we're in gold anyway, so that's it. All right, let's see. Let's go to football. Let's go to a calmer, happier concept. So my NFL concepts have been working beautifully. College still needs a little. I get fooled a little bit. So let's go to the lines. Let's go to the pros first. There's far fewer. Now I have posted 2 locks. I have posted a big pro lock, and I have posted a big college lock. They are posted. The college one I felt, okay? It's an instinct, okay? And I saw this team and I said, no, they're playing well. The team they're playing is playing shitty. This is a big lock, and we'll go into that. All right. So 2 locks I already posted. Now we're fishing around for the rest of the deck. All right. So we got tomorrow, Philly 3.5, 48.5. And so you look at it, and it's, to me, a tease the dog game. It's a total wise. You got a 22 defense, Washington. They're both A teams. Washington with a 22 defense, Philly with an 18. We noticed Philly is playing a lot of lower scoring game. Dallas didn't score on them. Washington's defense has gotten a ton better. Okay. And I like Daniels. I can bet on him and trust him. So this is a touchy game. It's tease the dog, but are you afraid of Philly with Barkley? Barkley might run it down their throat. So it does give you a little fear of Philly. This ain't Mahomes. This is Daniels, who's good. But what I like is the way they played Pitt last week. They were down. They took the lead, and Pitt happened to win at the end, 28-27. But with that said, Philly's not as good as Pitt. Hurts is not as good as Russell Wilson. And Philly's defense is not as good as Pitt's. So I think Washington can score in this game. I think Philly and Washington, I think this game goes down to the wire. So not going to give it as a free play, but that's my analysis on it. What is my score? So anyway, it's an A game. The only crazy is it's Thursday night, which I hate. All right. The Rams 4.5, 43.5 to New England. The Rams are an E team with the 24 defense, and New England's a W team with the 22. And so now, as my theories go, I really don't want to bet a W team. Okay, Drake May's in there. He's not any, he wants to run a little bit, not a good thrower. The Rams, you got to wonder what the fuck happened against Miami that they couldn't score a touchdown. They're traveling to the East Coast. It's like a Big Ten game. USC's going to Rutgers. The Rams as a dog would be a lock, but they're favored. You can't really touch New England with Drake May. 24 defense, 22. Does that help us on our total? I don't know, 43.5. So it's a game you just run away from because you have no idea, what the hell's going on in this thing. The Rams are the better team with Stafford, way better than May. Defensively, New England a little bit better. Holding Caleb to 3 is not hard. Notre Dame did it. Remember that game? It's funny how all the Notre Dame stuff's coming back and the UCLA stuff's coming back. And the announcers are now like, how can we save Caleb? And this, you fucked up. You took a bad quarterback, number one. Learn to live with it. All right. So it's really a difficult play, that one. Miami against Oakland, Sea of Hands, 7. Miami, 7.5, 44. Oakland's now a Z team with the 28 defense and no Devontae Adams. Miami is probably an E team with Tagliavua. They'll score more. How they beat the Rams is a mystery to me. 22 defense for Miami. So it's a pretty decent defense. Oakland just no offense, and it's all Max Crosby if he's even still playing. Here you could bet against the Z team. Total wise, you're not going to get help from Oakland. See, here's how I break it down. Oakland's a Z team. They're not going to score for you. And a 28 defense. Miami will score and a 22 defense. So Miami's going to score, but Oakland can't match. So I can't go over because I'm not going to get help from Oakland. And then it's Miami scoring out of maybe I go under. So maybe you go under, but Oakland's got a 28 defense. So that leaves you with Miami. Don't you love how I come up with this? All right. The Bears 5.5, or the Packers 5.5, 40.5 to the Bears. And our Caleb. Well, we know Caleb sucks. Bears are an under team with a great defense, 19 defense. Green Bay's an E team. Love's been hurt. They had the bye. I would expect to see him play a better game. 22 defense. However, obviously Love's better than Caleb by a mile. But Love's been throwing interceptions. And it's hard to score. I remember watching the Bear game, and Stafford couldn't get it in the end zone. He kept kicking field goals. Even Daniels, it was a low scoring game. So I think Green Bay wins, but it's going to be tough with this defense. And Green Bay's defense is pretty good. Caleb, will they get a field goal with Caleb? So interesting game. I think Green Bay wins it, but it's going to be a tough defensive struggle. The Lions are up to 14, 13.5, and 46.5. I would imagine that means Trevor Lawrence is out. Let's see if we have any Trevor Lawrence. Questionable with the shoulder as of November 7th, which is a week ago. So let's go to our friendly Yahoo and see if they've given us anything on Lawrence. Raiders Gardner Minshew to start versus Dolphins despite his, was he got an injury? despite his struggles. Well, who else they got? Their backups out. Browns coach Kevin Stefanski says business decision comment was, says offensive tackle Jedrick Willis business decision comment was poor choice of words. That's what you're seeing in the NFL now. These are not players that want to play. These are players that are business decisions. Colts going back to Anthony Richardson as starting quarterback. Really? I just saw that Flacco was. What the fuck? This is the owner saying, who is Indy playing? And they're going to play in the JETSs. So Richardson's back. Colts going on. So let's see. Are we getting anything on Jacksonville? Sam Darnold limited in Wednesday's practice with hand injury. Caleb feels full support of teammates as he sucks. Okay, I don't care about practice. Kyle Hamilton and Van Noy out of practice for Ravens. I don't care. T. Higgins is back to practice. Jordan Love has a full practice. McCaffrey returns to 49ers practice without a setback. Montez Sweat doesn't practice once. He's on the Bears. I don't want to talk about Jacksonville. Let me go to injuries and see if, well, let's see, I could go here. The reason I'm doing this is if he's out, I'm going to bet my house on Detroit. Trevor Lawrence is out with the shoulder. All right, Detroit, your free pick. Lay the 8. Go Detroit, beat Navy. So Trevor Lawrence is out, which means Mac Jones, which is what I thought when I saw the line and the total go down. My score in this game was 37-13 with Trevor Lawrence. So it probably goes down to like 37-10. You can get a 13.5. So bon appetit, everybody. Take Jacksonville. Take Detroit. Lay the 7.5. I'll be posting this in 5 minutes. Detroit has strong offense, had a bad game against Houston. Goff with 5 interceptions, or whatever the fuck you want to call his 5 turnovers. He had 5 of them. Jacksonville, no defense. Jacksonville is a 26 defense. I mean, this is just, now you're laying 8. Who cares? The way the Lions run it up, they're going to run it up. Like I said, 37-13. Take Detroit, your free pick. They can almost beat Navy now, although I don't think they could beat Army yet. New Orleans, 1.5, 44.5 to Cleveland. New Orleans, an E team, 25 defense. Cleveland, a W team, 24 defense. It's a mess. Neither team's really got a defense. Myles Garrett, but that's not that. The New Orleans, who the fuck knows? We'll look closer into the injuries as we get closer. Cleveland a W, New Orleans an E. I don't, I would not take Cleveland as a road dog here. New Orleans, usually good at home, but not the way they fired the coach. Maybe that was the problem. Baltimore 3-48 to Pittsburgh. Baltimore's the over team with the 25 defense, and Pitt is a B team, almost an A team. Fields keeps them a B. With Russell Wilson, they're an A. 16 defense. I can give you one hint here. Pittsburgh is 9-0 in a teaser this year. Baltimore is probably 7-2. Pittsburgh's covered every week, even with Fields. This is a huge game. Pitt is in the lead in the division. We know what Lamar is, and we know what Russell Wilson, and we got TJ Watt. So this will be an outstanding game, very close game. We'll see how it goes. Normally, Lamar will choke in this game because they're playing a good defense with the better quarterback is Russell Wilson. So very tight game here. Minnesota, Tennessee, as they said, Darnell has a bad hand. I don't know. 639.5. Number hasn't changed. Minnesota's a B team with a 17 defense. Tennessee's a Z team with a 27. If it's Levis, he sucks. They got better chance with Mason Rudolph. One note, Minnesota 23-3 in a teaser the last year and a half. Enough said. But keep your eye on Darnold. He's got to be the QB. So wait a little bit on that to make sure he's okay. He probably is. Practice is just preliminary now. The JETS is 444 to Indy. Notice how the line goes up when Richardson just takes over at quarterback. 4-44. Indy's an excuse me. Indy's an under team with the 22 defense. The JETSs are an under team with the 21. Now we got the new coach. We got the new offensive coordinator. We got Aaron Rodgers actually playing. I think the Jets at home are probably a good play. You got a 22 defense and a 20. You got 200 teams. Maybe we look at the under. It's 44, under 50. Could be a low scoring game with Richardson. He can't hit the broadside of a barn. It doesn't give him the best chance of winning. It's just simply we drafted him, so we're going to wheel him out there, and maybe we can trade. I mean, who the hell wants this guy? He's not a quarterback, especially after he tapped out after 3 runs and he said, I'm tired. Why is he playing? He obviously doesn't want to play. He obviously has no passion for the game. He's just in it for the money. And what are you playing that guy for? You're not going to win with that. The 49ers, 6.5, 48 to Seattle. This was 50.5. What's going on here? Purdy against Smith. Both E teams. But with McCaffrey back, the Niners probably moved to a B. 22 defense. Seattle, 25 defense. Now, I looked at the standings, and I'm going to say that the Niners have their back against the wall. They're a game behind Arizona, I believe, or they're tied with Arizona at like 5-4 or 6-5 or something like that. They have to win. They have pride. They're a Super Bowl team. They're the best team in the NFC when healthy, and they're getting healthy. With McCaffrey back, it makes it so much different. Now, the first game, he didn't play that much. Now he's okay. He's practicing, getting his win. You know, it takes a few weeks, but the Niners are desperate. They want to be in the Super Bowl. They have to start winning and at least win their fucking division because they're not going to be probably a wild card. It's going to go to Philly, Washington, or Detroit, Minnesota. Those are your 2 wild cards, and then maybe Green Bay. So you got the Niners have to win the division, and they're not winning it. So I just sense that here come the Niners because they have to win. They're at home to Seattle, and let's see if DK Metcalf is playing. Seattle, no injuries to report. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and the Niners have 1,000. So we got to see if DK Metcalf does not play, then I'm all over the Niners here. All right. Denver, 2.5, 44 to Atlanta. Atlanta's an E team with the 24 defense. Means they score about 24. They got Kirk Cousins, Mr. Choke. 2.5, 44. Denver under team with a strong 18 defense. Bo Nix playing pretty well. Defense is, they played a 17-16 game with Kansas City. I would like Denver as the dog here. I'd probably lock it, but Denver favored. I am not touching Atlanta. Really strong defense for Denver, so I think that's how you play the game. Atlanta with the 24 defense. Bo Nix should have a pretty good game, and Cousins, he's going to get hurt in this game. Mark my words. It's an 18 defense. Denver, they're going to be all over this guy and Mr. Choke. So I'm predicting an injury to Kirk Cousins, and we'll see Michael Penix against Bo Nix. That'll be a great game, wouldn't it? Much better than the game we're going to get. Buffalo, 2.5, 46 to KC. 2.5, 46. This is your free game, so you have 2 free games, and I'm going to put them both in the pros because every free game I put in college has been losing. So fuck that. I don't want you to lose. I don't want to lose my bets because I mark it free and then it loses. So you got Detroit, and you're going to play it with Kansas City as the dog because it's Mahomes. Anytime Mahomes is a dog, especially against Buffalo. Both teams are A teams. 18 defense for KC, 19 for Buffalo. This game will be close. I got KC winning 24-21. They'll win the game, and they're getting 8.5. You got to love it. Mahomes, little ankle problem. He played with a high ankle sprain for 3 games, including the Super Bowl. So I don't see a problem. He's a gamer. He's a winner. Kelsey's there. I don't know who the running back is. I don't care. The defense is outstanding with Spagnuolo. Josh Allen will have trouble, and Buffalo's defense isn't special. Anytime, especially here, they beat Baltimore. They beat Joe Burrow. Why would they lose to Buffalo? Oh, it's at Buffalo. Does that matter? No. For Mahomes, it doesn't. Put me on a field that's 100 yards long and 50 yards wide, and I will win the game. So you got to take Mahomes as the dog, automatic play. Very hard game here. San Diego, 1.5, 48 to Cincinnati. This is up from 46.5. I'm shocked. I don't know what to do with it because we saw Cincinnati against Kansas City, against Baltimore twice. They put up in the 30s, although we realize Baltimore does not have a good defense. That's the problem with Baltimore. They are not a good defensive team. They are a 25 defense. Their guys just stand around, let everybody run around. So we see that. Problem is San Diego has a 13 defense. This game's 1.5, 48. Normally, Joe Burrow is a dog, and I'll probably end up taking Joe Burrow as the dog, but I haven't done it yet. The problem I have is Cincinnati's got a 26 defense, so Herbert will look like a stud, but Joe Burrow's got to face a 13 defense, and that is going to be hard to do. No, it's Joe Burrow. He'll find a way to score your 20 points, but it's Cincinnati's defense that worries me here. So I don't know what to do. I am not on Joe Burrow yet, but we got to feel it. We got to go to a feel. So right now I'm just watching. I think Joe Burrow hangs in there, but I think San Diego wins, but I don't know. This is a tough. Otherwise, 99 times out of 100, this is a 100-unit lock. Mahomes and Burrow as dogs. We like the Mahomes part, but the Burrow part, it's San Diego and that defense. You got Khalil Mack and Boza coming at you. Yeah, they can't cover Chase, but it's a tough one. It's really tough. And the last game is Houston 7.5, 42 to Dallas. Houston an under team with a 23 defense. Dallas is a W team with a 30 defense. Now we did see Michael Parsons last week. We do have Cooper Rush, so they're still not going to score. The question is, will we get the Houston team from last week or from the one that played Indy? I mean, this is the problem with Houston. They go in to play Indy and Jacksonville, and they win 23-20. Then the Lions come to town, and they look like a real team, except C.J. Stroud throws a little pop-up in the end zone that should easily have been a touchdown that's intercepted, and the game is now turned and over, and Detroit wins thanks to C.J. Stroud. So as strong as they were defensively for the first three quarters, or at least the first half, who was that team? Is that team going to show up this weekend? This is a big rivalry. Houston-Dallas is a Texas game. Is Houston going to show up? Is Dallas going to finally play? Because this is a rivalry. I mean, we know Dallas sucks. Cooper Rush looked terrible, but that was against Philly. Houston does blitz the quarterback a lot, so I'm expecting Houston to do that. Dallas with the W. They don't score, but the 29 defense. So normally you would take Houston as, well, they got a 23 defense. Dallas is weak, a 29 defense, so I can't go over or under. So therefore, I can only go and pick Houston. But I can't trust Houston because I don't think they play like that this week. I don't see that. I just want to see if my chat's working. Okay. This is the problem with most of the teams in the league. You don't know what you're getting from Houston. The team I saw in the first half of Detroit, I had never seen before. The team I saw in the second half, I see every week. And this is the problem. Why do we play Kansas City? Because it's Mahomes, and we know what we're going to get with Mahomes. He's gold. That's the difference. We know what we're going to get with Mahomes. We think we know what we're going to get with Burrow. We don't know what we're getting with C.J. Stroud, the playoff Baltimore guy, the second half Detroit guy, or what? Or the guy who played Michigan and couldn't do shit, or the guy, that people think that he's good, the first half Detroit guy, I guess. This is the problem, the inconsistency, the bad coaching, the bad play calling, Stroud always rolling to his right. I mean, it's just the receiver's going to the left. Just might as well stop the routes because he's going to the right. He couldn't throw back to the left if he wanted to. I don't know why they run routes to the left because the guy doesn't stay in the pocket, and all he does is throw, and he kills half the things. And I love the announcers who think, well, that's good. He's scrambling. No, it's not good, you idiots. He cuts the field in half, and now the defense only has to worry about the side he's going to. So that is the pros. Free plays. Detroit with Lawrence out, which Lawrence sucks anyway, but Mac Jones is even worse. Let me put Jones in here. So we know Lawrence is out. We know they're going back to Richardson. So Washington, we got Daniels against Hurts. The Rams, Stafford against May. Oakland is Minshew against Tay. Green Bay's Love against Caleb. Jacksonville, Jones against Goff. Cleveland, I assume it's still Winston against Carr. Lamar goes against Russell Wilson. One of them has a Super Bowl ring and the other doesn't. Minnesota, it looks like it'll be our Darnold against, I guess, Levis. We got Richardson against Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Seattle should be Smith against Purdy. Atlanta should be Cousins until he gets hurt versus Denver, which is Bo Nix. We got Mahomes against Allen. We got Burrow against Herbert. We got Stroud against Cooper Rush. So we got some really good quarterbacks, and then we got Caleb and Drake May and Daniel Jones. We don't even have Daniel Jones this week, do we? So that's why we bet the quarterbacks and we bet the defenses. And really, so in a nutshell, we're looking for A teams, right? We're going to bet Mahomes, A team. We're going to bet the Lions, A team. Strong quarterback, well, he's okay. And a good defense, well, it's okay. And that's what you look for, and that's what we find. We took Minnesota against Jacksonville last week. You got a B team against the W team. That's why we rank it. So who's the Z teams? Let's go there. New England's a W team. Oakland's a Z team. Jacksonville is a Z team with Jones. Cleveland's basically a Z team. Tennessee's a Z team playing mini. And that's it. Dallas is a W. Maybe with Cooper Rush, they're a Z because they're not going to score much. Although I don't mind Cooper Rush. He's not your problem. Your teasers. Okay. Here are the teaser trends that we want to go with. So take the game minus the 6 and bet it. Minnesota, 23-3. Detroit. These are mostly this year. Detroit's 9-1 in a teaser. Green Bay, I think, is 8-1. They had a bye. Washington, I think, is 8-1. Pittsburgh is 9-0. Buffalo is 8-1. Indy's 8-1. Houston's 8-1. Or maybe 9-1. Denver, 9-1. San Diego, I think they're 9-1. Kansas City's 9-0 in a teaser. They haven't lost in a teaser. And Tampa Bay, who I that might be over 2 years, but anyway, they're good. The play against teams. So we go against these teams. The JETSs, Houston. So Houston plays like they did last week. You bet on them, you won. You bet against them, you won. Indy, because they play close games. Miami, because they suck. Jacksonville, Tennessee. So the whole Jacksonville, Tennessee, Indy, and Houston, the whole division's crap, and they're all play against us. Dallas, which sucks. Seattle, which sucks, and of course Carolina, who leads up the pack. Those are your teaser trends. Most of them are this year. Washington makes a big change. Last year they were terrible. This year they're good. Carolina still sucks. Minnesota's outstanding. And, the better teams, Pittsburgh, Washington, Buffalo, Kansas City, San Diego, Denver, Minnesota, Detroit, and Green Bay are all play the teasers. So the good teams take the 6 away and you win. The bad teams, Houston, Indy, Miami, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Dallas, Seattle, Carolina, you bet against. So now it's a lot easier going, well, wait a minute. What type of, Detroit's an A team. I'm going to bet on them. Oh, Jacksonville's a W. We go against Jacksonville. I mean, it's simple. But you got to know who the good team and the bad team is. Now, usually in the stats, but what happens when Washington plays Philly and Baltimore plays Pitt and KC plays Buffalo? Now you have the A's playing each other, and then Oakland and Miami, a Z against the W. Not too many of those. Houston, Dallas. Houston's an under playing Dallas, a W. So that's what you end up with. So it all comes back to the teaser, right? And the teaser, I hear guys bitching, oh, I'm not betting KC anymore. And I'm thinking, KC's 9-0 in the teaser. They don't understand what a teaser is and how to bet it. And that's what I've mastered. this is the theory, right here. This is how you do it. This is why I'm like, what, 10-0, 11-1, 8-4, and now 9-2 last week. It's just right there. I mean, it just, once you can kind of grasp the concepts and the theories, and people are looking for analytics and they're looking for, let me do a formula or an AI, you're fucked. You start doing that, you don't know what you're doing. You don't win with that. You got to know the teams. College football, sorry, but I'm on late, so no MAC teams today. We had Northern Illinois 15-45 to Akron. Miami of Ohio 30-45 to Kent State, and Ohio 49.5 to Eastern. I didn't play any of this shit. I didn't play anybody yesterday in MAC. I don't want to play the MAC. Very hard. The Z team here is Kent, so Miami of Ohio lane 30, and they don't score a lot. It's probably the only one to play, but they're gone. Tomorrow, one game. East Car Tulsa. East Car 14.5, 62.5. East Car's an over team, 27 defense. Tulsa's a W with a 38 defense. Look for East Car to blow them out. Now, I did tell you I will give you who to win the conference. Let's do that now. So you go to Yahoo and we go to NCAA and we go to conferences. We go to standings. And now the standings come up like this. So we're in the American Athletics. So the Army is 7-0, Tulane 6-0, Navy 5-1, and we'll throw Memphis 4-2. So these are going for the conference championship. Army, I don't think plays this week. Tulane does, Navy does, Memphis does. So those are really your four, and I don't even know if Memphis really has a chance, but let's say it's Army, Navy, and Tulane really in contention. So those are teams now you got to focus. These teams need to win the conference championship. It's a whole, why won't Army be in the playoff? Can somebody explain that to me? If Army goes undefeated and obviously has to beat Tulane and the Navy, why aren't they in the playoffs? They can't win? Have you seen their 11 defense? Yeah, they could. I mean, some of these teams in there, they could beat, so again, they should be in the playoffs. So that's your three teams in the American Athletic. In the ACC, we've got SMU 5-0, 8-1 overall, a very good playoff team. Clemson at 6-1, 7-2 overall. Miami at 5-1, 9-1. And we'll throw Louisville in the mix at 4-2. But really, it looks like it's SMU, Clemson, and Miami to win the conference and win the playoff spot. I would say SMU is the best team. If they played Miami, I would take the dog in the game, which probably be SMU. Clemson's already lost 2 games, which I think matters because when you look at the overall record. So in conference, if they tie, well, SMU would have to lose. But let's say Miami wins out and they go 9-1, and then they'd be 11-1 overall, and Clemson's got 2 losses, then Miami would jump them. But ain't nobody beating SMU. So SMU, Miami, and Clemson are really the studs. Louisville, you can kind of throw in, but they're number 4. Big 12, BYU, ranked 6th, 6-0, 9-0 in the conference. Just beat my Utah team. Colorado somehow found a defense, 5-1, 7-2. Iowa State and Kansas State are slipping. They're 4-2, 7-2, but they're better. They're the better teams. And we even have Arizona State and West Virginia at 4-2, although West Virginia's 5-4. Really out of it. It's really between BYU and Colorado, and maybe Iowa State and Kansas State can get in, but how did Colorado get 5-1? I don't know. But those are your, let's say, 4 teams in the Big 12. BYU's got a game with Kansas, and if they're not careful, Kansas is going to beat them because Kansas is starting to play. They barely lost to K-State, and then they killed Iowa State. They put up 48. How the hell they put up 48 on Iowa State? So Kansas can easily upset BYU. BYU's a 355. That number is very, very low. I have BYU 10, but it's going to be extremely difficult for BYU this week because of the Utah game, which is a rivalry game. So they get sky high for that. And now here comes Kansas, who's strutting in, going, oh, yeah. And BYU cannot reach the same level that they played against Utah. It's just, you can't do it. So very, very easily, Kansas gets the upset here. They get 9 anyway, but very easily could beat BYU the way they're playing. They're playing very strong now. Anyway, it's BYU, it's Colorado, and then we'll throw in Iowa State, Kansas State, because they're very good teams. The Big Ten, very interesting turn here. 7-0 Indiana, 7-0 Oregon, and they're both 10-0. And then here's Ohio State, 5-1, 8-1, losing to Oregon. Penn State, 5-1, 8-1. So it's really Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon. I'm not counting Penn State. They lost to Ohio State, and they haven't played Indiana or Oregon, so I don't, what a screwy lineup. But Indiana, they're off. They get Ohio State next week. I would say Ohio State's going to win it because Ohio State has to win it. They're 5-1. If they lose that game, they're 5-2, and they're gone. Indiana can still go 7-1 and still make the playoff, and Oregon beat Ohio State, doesn't play Indiana, so this will be interesting. So you got Oregon in the one side of the Big Ten championship, and whoever wins Indiana, Ohio State will be in it. Now, not that Indiana's not a very good team and could easily beat Ohio State. They got to score and they got to play defense, and Ohio State can play defense. Although they struggled against Penn State. So we will see. That'll be an interesting game. But it's Indiana, Oregon, Ohio State in the Big Ten. Conference USA. Good luck with this one. All right. You basically have a 3-team race. Western Kentucky, 5-0. Jacksonville State, 5-0. Sam Houston, 4-1. And Liberty's 4-2. But I like Liberty, so. And then you got these New Mexico State 1-5, Kennesaw State 1-4, UTEP, Middle Tennessee. You got such bad teams and then such good teams. So Western Kentucky, who do they play? Let's see, Western Kentucky. Liberty's got UMass. Western Kentucky's at home to L-Tech. So they're 5-0, and they get L-Tech, who's 2-4 in conference, 3-6. Now, here's the difference in the play. Western Kentucky has to win the division. If they lose and Jacksonville State wins and Sam Houston wins, Western Kentucky's looking out. They want to win the conference, right? So Western Kentucky will not, that's I'm just going to circle them. I'm not necessarily playing them, but you can see the reason they want to win their conference. Jacksonville State. So Liberty, I just like because they're playing UMass. Jacksonville State, I thought we got Sam Houston against Tennessee State. Sam Houston has to win the game. They're 14.5 over Kennesaw State, who's the Z team. So Sam Houston needs the game. Jacksonville State, where the hell are they? They're probably the night game in the Conference USA. Jacksonville State. I love the way the schedule comes out. It's all mixed. Oh, here's some Big Ten. Here's Jacksonville State. Where are you, Jacksonville? I don't see them. Damn, where are they? Here they are. Jacksonville State's 14-58 to Florida International. Florida International 2-3, 3-6. Jacksonville State also in a must-win. So all of a sudden, you got Jacksonville State minus 14 in a must-win game. Western Kentucky minus 14 in a must-win game to see who wins Conference USA. Now, they should be going to the playoff, but they're not. But there's a lot of pride to win the conference. Believe me, these teams will be up. Western Kentucky's at home. Jacksonville State's at home. There you go. Put that in your fucking analytic computer. Independence, we don't care. It's Notre Dame. MAC, we don't care. That's going on now. But just so you know, MAC, Bowling Green 5-1, Ohio 4-1, Miami of Ohio 4-1, Toledo 4-2. So it's really Bowling Green, Ohio, and Miami of Ohio. Bowling Green played Tuesday. Must win for them. Ohio played today, Wednesday. They're on now. And then Miami of Ohio played today also. So Miami of Ohio and Ohio need the game, and Bowling Green already played Tuesday. The Mountain West. Boise, 5-0, and you'll never guess who's 4-0 in this. Colorado State is 4-0. Here's where you have no idea that Colorado State's this good. I don't have any idea. Vegas is 3-1, and then it's kind of San Jose State, Fresno State, or New Mexico, like 3-2, 3-3. So this is a 2-horse race because Boise beat Vegas. So it's Boise against Colorado State. Let's see who they play. Boise. Boise's got somebody. It's funny they're not playing Friday night. I'm confused. Colorado State, I believe they're playing. Let's see. Boise's at San Jose State laying 14. San Jose State's not that good. So Boise in a must win. Colorado State. I don't see them. I thought they were playing. And the way I abbreviate them, it's CSU, so I could easily miss them. And maybe they're not playing this week. Oh, here they are. They're playing tomorrow. Wyoming at Colorado State. Colorado State minus 10. So now Colorado State's in a must win over Wyoming, who sucks. Wyoming with the 32 defense. So look for Colorado State to play a good game. And then that'll put pressure on Boise, who's laying 14. I was thinking about San Jose State, but I was looking at their numbers, and I'm like, no, I don't think so. Gentry should have a field day. 25 defense, 24 for San Jose State. They're an E team. Total 61 in the game. But Boise must win. Look for them to take care of business. Vegas has an outside shot, but they've already lost to Boise. It's weird. They're only 3-1 in conference, and here's Boise 5-0. So they obviously play later. Vegas is playing. Yeah, they play San Diego State. This is the late game. San Diego State's 2-2, 3-6 is conference. Vegas has to win this game, but they're laying 20. It's a big number. But it's mostly Boise and Colorado State here. In the Pac-12, yeah, that's funny. There's nobody. Now, here comes the SEC. All right, get out paper and pencil. There's like 10 teams. Tennessee 5-1. The quarterback is injured. I'm not sure if he's playing. And Sampson, the running back, is injured. They're both questionable against my Georgia team. A&M 5-1. Texas 4-1. I think they play A&M Thanksgiving. Georgia 5-2. Ole Miss 4-2. Alabama 4-2. I'm not going to count Missouri and LSU. They're 3-2. So We have 2, 4, 6 teams. Tennessee, A&M, Texas, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Alabama. Georgia plays at Tennessee plays at Georgia. Good luck there. Alabama's playing a high school team this week. Ole Miss, I don't think they're playing anybody because they're probably resting because they played Georgia. So really your game is Tennessee at Georgia. Georgia's laying 10 now. Where is they? Where are you? Oh, come on. Where's that game? How can I not see it? Oh, okay. It's a night game. Georgia 10, 48.5. It's a must-win game for Georgia. They got 2 losses. Tennessee quarterback is questionable, and he's a volleyball player anyway. And then we've got the running back who's really good, Sampson, who is also questionable. Georgia, I think this is like a Texas game, like 30-15. I think Georgia really pushed the screws to Tennessee. This is not the type of quarterback that's going to bother Georgia because you can't throw the fucking ball. He's a run only, and Tennessee's got a killer defense. So this will be a very interesting game. We'll see what happens. But Georgia's back's against the wall, and we all love Georgia with their back against the wall, even how bad they played at Old Mississippi. But watch these Tennessee injuries. That's the key to it. Because you're laying, I wondered why I'm laying 10 when I should be laying 3. My spread's 3. But the quarterback and the other are injured. So keep an eye. Ole Miss, this is how strong it is. LSU beat Ole Miss. Kentucky beat Ole Miss. Vanderbilt beats Alabama. I can't remember Alabama's second loss. I think it was Tennessee. I mean, this is you got LSU 3-2, South Carolina 4-3, who's playing well. Vanderbilt 3-3, we love. Arkansas 3-3, Florida 2-4. Oh, by the way, Oklahoma's in this thing at 1-5 in conference. I love that. Auburn 1-5, Kentucky 1-6, and Old Mississippi State 0-6, who found a quarterback and is starting to score 30 points a game. I don't get this league. I don't get college football. Why do you have one division? If you had 2 divisions, you could have 2 winners, right? But you just have one division. It's insanity. So you got, 6 teams trying to win the conference. All right, Sun Belt. They have 2 conferences. Very interesting. Georgia Southern and Marshall are 4-1 in the East. And in the West is my Lou Lafayette at 5-0. Gotta love Lou Lafayette. 5-0, 8-1. James Madison is in this 3-2. Old Dominion 3-2. Coastal Carolina is 2-3. App State, who usually wins this, is 2-4. The West, Lou Lafayette, Arkansas State, Texas State 3-2, South Alabama 3-2, Lou Monroe 3-3, Troy 1-4, and the worst team in college football besides Kent, Southern Miss 0-5. So there's a game. Who's got Southern Miss this week? It's like, okay, who's got Southern Miss? We'll play against them. Southern Miss has Texas State. Texas State's 3-2. Lou Lafayette's 5-0. There's a couple games left. Texas State's laying 26. Probably a good play. This is where a lot of this is hidden, is in the Sun Belt. Georgia Southern, excellent team. Marshall's been playing well. We know James Madison killed North Carolina. Old D, Coastal Carolina's good. Lou Lafayette's good. Texas State scores 100 points. And South Alabama's not bad. So, I mean, it's a very exciting conference. That's why you have to do the analysis that we do, because there's games all like right here. Who's playing Southern Miss? I locked it. I didn't lock it. I had it last week. I had Marshall playing Southern Miss, laying only 14. They won by 30. That's the point. I mean, once you realize Marshall is a good team in scoring, and Georgia Southern, we know, is a good team, and Lou Lafayette. Who's Lou Lafayette playing this week? I like Lou Lafayette. Let's see. Who are they playing? Lou Lafayette, where are you, boys? Georgia Southern's got Troy. Georgia Southern needs the game. James Madison and Old D, they're kind of a little bit out of it. Where's Lou Lafayette? Here they are. Lou Lafayette, 7 over South Alabama. Lou Lafayette needs the game. South Alabama 3-2. Lou Lafayette could lose a game because they're 5-0, and Arkansas State's 3-2, and Texas State's 3-2, and South Alabama's 3-2. But it's at Lou Lafayette, and they need the game. Texas State, Southern Miss. And then there's Georgia State 2 over Arkansas State. Georgia State's 0-5. Arkansas State is 3. Arkansas State's the better team, and they're the dog. They're both W teams. Anyway, so those are the conferences, and those are the teams that you can play because their backs are against the wall. They have to win. Like Oregon. Oregon's at Wisconsin. What's that line? 14, I believe. Oregon 14-52 at Wisconsin. They have to win the game because if they lose it, and Ohio State beats Indy, then it's Ohio State with 1 loss, Indy with 1 loss, and Oregon with 1 loss. And Oregon lost to Wisconsin. Indy lost to Ohio State, and Ohio State lost to Oregon. Oregon might be the odd man out if they lose to Wisconsin. So they gotta play Wisconsin. So you can see how Georgia has to beat Tennessee. Oregon really has to beat Wisconsin. And more importantly, Texas State has to beat Southern Miss. Now, Texas State, well, they're 3-2. So that, my friends, is your conference championships, which adds back against the wall pressure to a lot of teams. They have to win these games. Boise and Colorado is up there, and BYU, and the teams with 1 loss, and the Georgias against Tennessee. Now you get a better picture. Georgia has to win the game. They got 2 losses. Tennessee's got 1. They can afford to lose. They did beat Alabama somehow, Tennessee. But again, their quarterback's questionable, and we'll go into that. So let's just look at the big games. North Texas 1.5, 72.5. I had to get that one in against UTSA. This game's going to 100. 70. This game's tomorrow. No, this game's Friday. My days are fucked up. So today's Wednesday, right? Tomorrow's just East Car and Tulsa. And then Friday we got Wyoming, Colorado State, who Colorado State needs the game. North Texas, UTSA. It's both teams are explosive as hell. UCLA at Washington, UCLA a live dog, and Houston, Arizona doesn't mean shit. All right, so I highly recommend betting this game over North Texas UTSA. I cannot give it as a free game because then it won't win. So I can't give a college game as a free game, but it's UTSA, North Texas. 34 defenses, both over teams, both scoring tons of points, and especially against here. North Texas struggled last week. Look for them to come out on fire. So we need a 30-point game. 35-34 gives you 69's a winner. Believe me, this is going in the 50s. Okay, I'm telling you now, this is at least a 90-point, 100-point game. Colorado State is 10-47. That line hasn't moved to Wyoming. Washington 46.5 to UCLA. This moved up from 3.5 for some reason. UCLA is playing very good ball right now. Washington's playing decent. This is not an East Coast team going to Washington where you would then take like Iowa and you take Washington. This is West Coast each. And UCLA is playing very well. Ethan Garbers is starting to figure out how to play football. Houston, Arizona. Arizona is 1.5, 45.5. Houston did make a quarterback change to Chris. They beat Kansas State last week. So they're improving. Great coach for Houston. Liberty, UMass. Liberty's 14.5. And they have to win the game, I believe, Liberty. How are they only 14 to UMass? This is insanity. Go Liberty, beat Navy. I mean, you got to be kidding. Now, here's an excellent game. Colorado, 11.5, 46.5. Colorado must win the game. They're tied with BYU, or they're a game behind BYU. So they're up to 11.5 and 46.5. Interesting game. Utah with the killer defense, 17. Colorado is getting a good defense, 22. Look for Prime Junior to have a hard game. Utah showed you against BYU. Now, where BYU will be flat because they got the win, Utah will not be flat because they lost. And they got Colorado. Look out for Utah in this game. Sanders does not like good defenses, right? Okay. Enough said. Ohio State, Northwestern. Ohio State must win 28.5, 44. They get Indiana next week, 28-44. Northwestern, an under team with a 22 defense. We know what Ohio State is, a 10 defense. Will Howard will light it up, 28 on the road against Northwestern. How much defense does Northwestern really have? You just has to win the game. They go, if they have 2 losses and then they play Indiana, even if they beat them, they have 2 losses. Oregon doesn't have any, and Indiana has 1. So Ohio State's fucked if they lose this game. This is where it starts getting fun because they need, now there's pressure that they have to win. Before they just play, but now they have to. Tulane, 7:53. This is a playoff game. Tulane 7:54. Tulane is, I need it. Army's in the lead there. Tulane and Navy are right behind them. So this is for who's going to compete in the conference championship game. When you break it down, Tulane's an A team with a 19 defense. Navy's a B team with a 22 defense. Should be an outstanding game. Probably tease the dog. Although if Navy plays like they did against Notre fucking Dame, I don't know. So it's hard to take Navy, but Tulane's a really good team. Clemson, Pitt. This is also a playoff game. Clemson 10-54. Clemson is 1 game behind SMU. Pitt's got 2 losses, but right there. They beat Clemson. They jumped Clemson. So I think they still have a chance with 2 losses. Not that SMU's losing this week. We'll get to them. Clemson, 10-54. Clemson's not looked good the last few weeks. No offense. Pitt, 54. Pitt's been looking bad the last few weeks. Neither team looks good. Western Kentucky, 13.5, 53. We've talked about they need the game. And LTech, not a great team, 23 defense. Texas, Arkansas. Texas needs the game, 13.5, 57.5. The whole SEC needs the game. 14, 57, 13.5, 57.5. What can I say? Texas has to win if they want to make the playoff, right? Arkansas, good team, but not that good. I don't like the quarterback. Interesting game. Auburn against Lou Monroe. Auburn laying 23.5, 46.5. This is a meaningless game. Marshall, 8.5, 57 to Coastal Carolina. Does this game mean anything? Marshall switched quarterbacks to Braxton. They've been scoring a lot more. Coastal Carolina, 31 defense, but they're an over team. I'll have to relook if this is. I think Marshall needs the game. I'm not sure about Coastal Carolina. Jacksonville State, 14-58. We know they need the game. Versus Florida International, who's an E team with the 25 defense. Laying 14, a little bit big, but doable. Temple, Florida Atlantic, who cares? Temple's a Z team, 2.5, 50.5. I can't believe the Z team's favored, but Florida Atlantic's a W. 37 defense, Temple, 32 for Florida Atlantic. Michigan State, Illinois, meaningless. Illinois 3, 47.5, up from 2.5. Illinois is pretty good at home. Michigan State, I don't know. They played some good games. They played Ohio State well, kept fumbling. They played Oregon. They got killed. They should have beat. They lost to Michigan. They're just Child's just a freshman quarterback. The coach, they're okay. No, it should be a tight game there. Sam Houston, 15.5, 42.5. As we've already said, they need the game against the Z team, Tennessee State. So we will see. Cal, 9:56 to Syracuse. Cal doesn't need the game. I mean, they don't. This is not a playoff game. Cal's been playing very well. They're at home, a B team with a 19 defense. Syracuse, an over team, did beat my Vegas team. A 29 defense, but they got to go coast to coast. And Cal's been playing very well. Hawaii and Utah State. Hawaii is favored by 2.5. 60. At first, I kind of liked Utah State, but looking at Utah State, I don't like Utah State. They're a 42 defense. You can't bet a 42 defense. You can only bet them over. Now, they are an over team. Hawaii is playing fairly good defense, an under team. Total is 60. Probably get over because Utah. How good's Hawaii's defense? Are they really going to stop Utah State here? And that's really who the hell knows. Here's SMU, 18.5, 54 to BC. SMU in a must-win game, winning the ACC. How the fuck is SMU in the ACC? No, they're in the AAC. No, they're in the ACC because BC's in the ACC. They're minus 18.5. Jesus. Wonder if there's an injury. This went from 16.5 to 17 to 18.5 and 54. So the total's not moving. SMU in a must win. They're undefeated. They win that. They make the playoffs. So this is a huge game for SMU. Their only loss was to BYU, who has not lost yet. So SMU definitely in the playoffs. They just went out. BC, well, is there an injury? Let's check. Hello. I love when these sites freeze up. Let's go to injuries. BC, yes, the quarterback's out. Ooh, okay. Castellanos, quarterback's out for personal. SMU, running back's out, tight end's out, running back's out, who's been out. But that's okay. We don't care. So BC without their quarterback. Let's look at BC's quarterbacks. James. So Castellanos was 2 out of 7 and then got knocked out of the game. And then James comes in. So we have a little on James. Goes 5 of 6 with a touchdown. They win 37-31 over Syracuse without their quarterback. Interesting. They must run a lot, right? All right. See, that's the thing. So quarterback's out for BC. The backup, who knows? That's a turkey shoot. Is the backup good? Well, it didn't look that good. We'll see. Air Force, Oregon State, 3.5, 45.5. Have a chance to win the Pac-10 with Washington State. I love it. Air Force is a W team. They did change quarterbacks. They scored a little bit more last week. They're usually a very good coach team and a very good team, but they would, again, if you don't have the quarterback, look at Army without Daly, they struggled. They did win, beating Air Force, but when Daly's in, they're a much better team. USF and Charlotte, who cares? USFF 353. Penn State 28.5, 50.5 to Purdue. Penn State, to have any hope, has to win this game. They've lost to Ohio State. Indiana and Oregon are undefeated. They have the one loss to Ohio State. So theoretically, they need it, but they don't have a prayer's chance. They're not playing Oregon. They don't play Indiana because Indiana's got Ohio State and somebody else after. So just Purdue sucks. They got a 38 defense, but you're laying 28 with Penn State. LSU and Florida. LSU 4.5, 54.5 to Florida. Game's pretty meaningless. Maybe LSU has a real outside chance because they only have 2 losses. Florida's all injured. First 2 quarterbacks are out. Half the defense got hurt against Georgia. LSU's play calling was terrible. All I know is LSU's got like 4 linemen out. Let's check the injuries in this game. LSU, wide receiver out, O-lineman, questionable, O-lineman, questionable, O-lineman, question. See, now the O-lineman might be coming back. So they were all banged up, and now they seem to get better. Florida. Langway is questionable with the leg. He needed a stretcher to get off. He pulled his left hamstring or something, and he couldn't even walk. I'd be shocked if he played. The third stringer is terrible. Let's see. The defense, DB's out. DL's out. They had like 5 guys. 2 more defensive backs are questionable. And another DB is questionable. 2 offensive linemen questionable. A lot of injuries to Florida. I can't imagine this Langway playing. I can't imagine he's questionable. It's absolutely ridiculous. Ooh, Army plays Notre Dame next week. All right. We got Notre Dame, Virginia. Notre Dame must win. They have 1 loss. They're the independent, so there's no conference. They cannot afford to lose. They're 22.5, 50.5 to Virginia. Virginia's an E team with a 27 defense. Notre Dame's an A with an 11. Go Notre Dame. Louisville, Stanford. Louisville kind of out of it. SMU's got them. And Clemson was better. I think they got 2 losses. This is a 20, 57.5. Stanford's a W team, 35 defense. Louisville is pretty good. I love the quarterback. But they're going to the West Coast, so we'll see. Georgia State, 7.5, 54 to Troy. Both teams suck, as we saw. Where are they? There it is. Georgia Southern. Which Georgia are you? Yeah, this is Georgia Southern against Troy. Georgia State's Arkansas State. Okay, so Georgia Southern needs the game. 7.5 against Troy. Did they need the game? I think they're first place there. I got to go back through that and make sure I've got everybody circled who I need, or just write it out. Anyway, Georgia Southern, much better team than Troy. Lengths went from 8 to 7.5. Let's check injuries here. Troy, Crowder, their quarterback's out. Well, that's he's the starting quarterback. Georgia Southern, nobody gets hurt at Georgia Southern. So that's huge. Then the spread went from 8 to 7.5, and the quarterback's out. Okay. Old D and James Madison. James Madison 352. Doesn't mean anything. Baylor, West Virginia. Baylor 2.5, 59. You know how much I love my Baylor team. 2.5, 59. I got a quarterback problem with West Virginia. Green is, let's see if he's still out. Green is questionable upper body. Baylor, they're fine. So if we get West Virginia's quarterback, we know what to do because it's fucking Baylor, right? And we always know what to do with Baylor. Score. Alabama's got Mercer. Yeah, put them in the playoff. They beat Mercer. All right. Baylor, West Virginia. So, all right. Keep an eye on it. It's 58.5, 59. So if this spread jumps to 62, we know the quarterback's playing, but we'll want to play him over. USC, Nebraska. USC's terrible this year. So is Nebraska. USC, because it's on the West Coast, is 8.5, 50.5. Nebraska, an under team with a 19 defense. USC's a B team with a 22 defense. Not what UCLA was last year. UCLA was an 18. They're switching quarterbacks, USC. And I would bet with Maivia, the Vegas quarterback, they're going to win big. He's much better than Miller Moss. I never understood it. The guy was great at Vegas. He transfers and you don't even play him. You watch. They'll beat Nebraska. South Carolina, 12.5, 44.5. Meaningless game. I don't know what's going on with Missouri. Brady Cook got hurt. Drew Pine came in from Notre Dame and Arizona State. They did beat Oklahoma last week as a home dog. I don't know. South Carolina, 12.5, 40. That's a big number. Missouri's not bad. They're not this bad. I don't know what's going on with them. They will play. They will be pissed off they're this big of a dog. But South Carolina beat my Vanderbilt, so fuck them. Georgia State, Arkansas State, we talked about. Georgia State, 259. And they're both W teams with 35 defenses. Maryland, Rutgers, who cares? Maryland, 651. Texas State, Southern Miss, we've talked about that. 26, 55.5. Go Texas State. They should kill Southern Miss. Because they're explosive. Southern Miss can't do shit. They'll be lucky to get past midfield. Very good game. Kansas State, Arizona State. Both teams need this to have a chance, but BYU's running away with it. So first BYU has to lose, which I said they could lose to Kansas. Kansas State, very good. This is Kansas State 8 and 50.5. There they go. They're both A teams, 24 defense versus 22 defense. Kansas State's got the 22. Scatterboo was hurt last week. Didn't matter. They still got the over for us. Kansas State, they usually have a pretty good defense. Arizona State has been playing much better this year. I think they're a live dog if Scatterboo plays, and they we'll see about the points. Kansas State, I'm always kind of like, how do I play them? Because they always have this good defense. They're like Iowa State. They always have a good defense and a pretty good offense, so we'll see. Boise, San Jose State. Boise, 13.5, 61.5. As I said, I was leaning towards San Jose State because they've been playing pretty well, but when I went into the games, it's like, yeah, I don't think so. Boise must win. to win the division, 14-61, the 13.5 and 61. Boise 25 defense, Penn State 24. Gentry, I finally got his name. Should put up, but they haven't been blowing out. I don't know. It's at San Jose State. Should be an interesting game. Lou Lafayette 758 to South Alabama. I think Lou Lafayette needs the game to clinch the division. South Alabama, an over team, 25 defense. Lou Lafayette, an A team, 22, and they both get 450 yards of offense. Should be a good offensive show. Total there is 58. That's another way. Georgia, as we speak, is now up to 10.5 and 48.5. Let's just say Georgia cannot lose this game. Bottom line, they can't lose it. I think we checked. Let's check again on the injury to the Tennessee guys. Tennessee, Amalavala is questionable with an undisclosed. He's the volleyball quarterback. Sampson is not injured anymore. The Bishop, the other running back's out. Linebacker out. DB out. But these were out. The DB was out September, and the linebacker was out November 2nd. So these are current. Question about running back Bishop out, linebacker out. But Sampson, the running back, is playing, and Amala Valavala is questionable with an undisclosed. He sucks anyway. Does Georgia, the whole team's out. They had a bunch of linemen out. They're all back. R. Robinson out with the foot. Brooks Robinson's out with the leg. Etnine's questionable. And Charlie Jones is questionable. That's 4 running backs. And you wonder what's wrong with Georgia this year. Well, you got 2 running backs out with a foot and a leg. They can't run the ball. They got to throw the ball. That's what's wrong with Georgia this year. It's always injuries when you get teams like Georgia who are not playing, or Alabama. If Alabama lost Milrose, they wouldn't do anything. J. Jonah Jameson out with the lower body and some receivers out. Yeah, that's what you got. So Georgia's lost so many running backs. Tennessee quarterback's questionable. He'll play. It's Georgia, of course. Damn. And let's go. Oregon, Wisconsin, as we've noted, Oregon has to win. They're 14-52 to Wisconsin. A&M 39-54 to New Mexico State. They must win, A&M, though. It's not a conference game, so I don't think they have to win this. But if they lose to New Mexico State, they'll never make it in the playoffs, so they got to kill them. Memphis 14-62.5 to UAB. Is Memphis a playoff team? I think they're close. 14-62. UAB is an over team with the 35. Memphis is a B team, the 23. I like the quarterback, Hennigan. Cincinnati, Iowa State. Iowa State is 9-53.5. There is an 8.5. Cincinnati's a B team, 22 defense. Had a lot of turnovers for me last week. Lost to West Virginia. Iowa State lost to Kansas. So Iowa State's a good team, good coach, good quarterback, Rocco back. Usually a pretty good defense. You got to watch the turnover. They don't have that running back that they usually do. Cincinnati's not as good as I thought. They've been playing okay, but not great. I think Iowa State bounces back here, but you got a 22 defense and a 19 defense, and Iowa State usually plays pretty good defense. We will see. Wake in North Carolina. This is over against over. North Carolina is 11 and 64 to Wake. Should be high scoring. Wake with the 32 defense, North Carolina 26. Definitely high scoring, but it's 64. Does that scare you? Scares me a little. Washington State 11-72 to New Mexico, but I can't go over here. New Mexico played somebody and just scored like 10 points a few weeks ago. Washington State's explosive, but they have a good defense. They held Washington. I wouldn't touch the 72. You're not going to get help from New Mexico. Here's the game I'm talking about. BYU's down to 2.5 now. That's surprising. And 56.5 to Kansas. Any injuries worth noting? Kansas quarterback Ballard is not their starter. It's Daniels. A couple of questionables. BYU, tight end and receiver are questionable. This is where your upsets could happen. I don't know why this site does it. You hit the back button and you're expecting to go back to the point where the game that you're at. All right, so Kansas 2.5, 56.5. Kansas is a very live dog, but if you're afraid of BYU, see, my theory is BYU is going to be a little bit flat because of the Utah game. There's no way they can be as strong, and therefore, and they're very live dog. They killed Iowa State. They put up 48 on Iowa State. Nobody puts up 48 on Iowa State. So Kansas is very live here. We'll see what happens. Vegas 20.5, San Diego State, as I said. They must win. San Diego State, an E team, 27 defense. Vegas is an A team. And there you go. So that's the bottom line, as Stone Cold always says. I have 2 locks already played. One lock is a feel lock, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. The other lock is not a feel lock. Well, it's a pretty feel lock. 2 locks here, 2 locks in the pros already posted. And now we got a shitload of games off of the conference championships that you can play. And, the teams now need to win the games. And because now it's important to win the conference championship with the 12-team playoff, although it looks ridiculous because 5 teams will come from the SEC. What the fuck is that? They'd be better off staying in their own conferences, winning your conference and getting into the playoffs instead of let's put all the eggs in one basket. It's kind of stupid. Anyway, love the locks. 1 college, 1 pro so far. And off we go. So it should be a good week. We've been red hot in the pros. College has been a little bit, we've been doing well in it, but it's the kind of odd game where we hit the Alabama over last week. We didn't play Georgia Ole Miss. After watching the game, Ole Miss has a defense. That's what I learned, and that's important. They're off this week. Georgia has to win. Tennessee beat Alabama. So you've got the Kansas BYU game where BYU has to win. They're undefeated, but you just played Utah and you won with about 22-21. So you got to be careful. Anyway, That's what we got on tap for you. Uh, Not playing. We're playing the pro game tomorrow. Not playing the college. I can see playing 3 games, maybe 4 on Friday in college. I could play them all, and then the normal Saturday, Sunday. I feel a little more comfortable playing the Friday games because that's okay. But the Tuesday, Wednesday, I don't like playing them. And then the Thursday game, okay. The pro game I don't love because they're not rested and they're out of routine. But I think this is a very good pro game. And then the pros, it'll be not as strong as the lock will be strong. There'll be 4 or 5 strong games in the pros, and then the rest are kind of like, who knows, right? New Orleans and whoever, yeah, And then I'm fucked on my Cincinnati dog against San Diego. I don't want to go against the killer defense, so it's kind of hard to go. I'll probably play a small Joe Burrow, but I don't know. I can't go over with the game. I mean, it really sucks. I can't go over or bet Joe Burrow with the San Diego defense. But that's what you learn. The defense can kill the offense and it can kill the bet. You don't want to fuck with the good defense. You've got to respect the good defense. You either go under or you just watch it. You can't, well, Joe Burrow will light him up. Joe Burrow ain't lighting up shit on San Diego with this defense with Mack and Bosa. They're healthy. He'll be under pressure all game. Now he's got Chase, but it's not going to be like Baltimore where he puts up 35 points. This is the difference. I can't believe the Cincinnati coach still has a job, having his head so far up his ass that he goes for 2 with Joe Burrow instead of going to overtime. And then I got Joe Burrow. I have a good chance to win. I thought that was ridiculous. There's no, you tie the game and go to overtime. You cannot sit there because anything can happen. They could throw Lamar. God knows he can throw an interception like every 5 minutes. So there's really, you can't say, well, Lamar was going to score anyway, so we went for 2. You got Joe Burrow. That's a bullshit excuse. Anyway, so we see who needs the games, and that helps here in college with all the conferences. And there's at least 3, 4 teams in each conference that can win the conference title. So you got to go from there. Anyway, I think that's it. Let's check our gold. It's been 2 hours. Let's see. Has it come back? It's at 25.59. See, now I don't understand is why is it going down when Asia has it? Asia should be kicking it back, but they're not. So 25, but it's more stunning is that now the US is out, it should be coming up and it's still going down. So by Saturday, I should get it really cheap. But again, it's just cleaning out derivatives. So don't like, oh my God, no, there's plenty of demand for gold. 25.60. So yeah, it's a little nervous, but that's okay. Am I going to read the chat? Everyone wants to know. There is no chat I can read. There's no chat here. Are people leaving chat and I'm not seeing it? I'm not seeing any chat. I'm a little surprised, but there's nothing here. I don't have anything in my chat. I don't know why. Let's see. Yeah, there's nothing here. So I don't know why. I did try to come on yesterday and it was like the chat was blown up. So I had to get out and come back in, but I'm not seeing any chat at all. So I'm not ignoring anybody. I don't see anything. It's all black. So I don't know. I don't know why I'm not. I'm surprised I'm not seeing it. But no, I'm not. There's no chat available to see. So I'm not ignoring anybody. It's just not here. I know that they sometimes do that. And again, there was a problem with chat a couple days ago, but I had chat, I think yesterday or the day before. So I just don't see anything. So I'm not ignoring anybody. So Titus, I don't know what to tell you, my man, but everyone what is everybody bothering you? Everyone wants to know, are you going to read the chat? So I'm not seeing anything. So I can't read something I can't see. Don't know why. Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by community guidelines. So I don't know if that's the issue or not. I don't know. I haven't turned it off, but I'm not seeing anything. Like I said, it had blown up. It could be a YouTube thing. I don't know if we had chat yesterday, but no, there's nothing here. So I'm not ignoring anybody. I don't see anything. But apparently Titus is, so just email me if you have chat questions and I'm not seeing it. But Titus had another big week last week. So he's on fire. We're on fire. That's why I'm going a little more descriptive so Titus can pick up on it, and we can keep getting some nice tips. Anyway, I think that's about it. So gold, yeah, don't panic. It's a buy because there's nothing changed with the dollar. I think it reminds me of Madoff, $60 billion in Madoff. And then he's found out he's Ponzi scheme. And I think what you've got going is people getting out of, I don't know if they're getting out of gold or what, but they're all going into Bitcoin. And I just see all the sheep going into Bitcoin and Bitcoin going to zero and everybody getting killed. And that happened in 2008 with the housing crisis. And I can just see everybody's going to get slaughtered in Bitcoin, especially if Coinbase goes bankrupt and you can't get out of it. Why would you keep putting money in something you can't get the money out? But anyway, let me play around with this chat. Why? Engage with my audience. Start a Q&A. Answer viewer questions live. Well, that's what we're trying to do. Start a Q&A chat. Let's see if I don't even see that. Anyway, I have no idea. I don't fuck around too much with YouTube. Sometimes I don't get the voice. Sometimes the chat does some things, but I don't, Luke will sit there and chat and I don't read it. And it's just not here. So I don't do anything on my end. I don't block people. It's YouTube doing it. And they've been really slow. Today, I didn't think I'd get in. It was really slow. Anyway, just email me with questions and comments on the chat, but I'm not seeing it. So Titus actually sent me this email, and I'm like, what do you mean did I not do it? This is at 9 o'clock. So this is an hour ago. G, say hi. Mr. Crazy, say hi. Greg and John, say hi. Okay, hi, G. How are you reading this, Titus? And then why am I not seeing it? So how are you seeing it and I'm not seeing it? But hello, Ryan and Greg John and G and whatever else is coming in. Thanks for that, Titus. But Titus, how are you seeing that? How are you seeing it and I can't? This is really interesting because I don't see it. Or are they all emailing you to say hi? But I'm not seeing the highs, which is I was surprised because normally I get some people texting me, or that's why I do the live chat. This is live. It says live. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So it should be a really big week. College pro. Again, I'm red hot and I don't see any difference. The 2 locks are posted and off we go. So www.teaserking.com. Get the games, get the locks, and off we go. Been red hot. All right, everybody. I don't know. I'm going to do some research why I can't see anybody's text. Apparently, Titus can. Titus. We've been chatting the whole show. It was like this yesterday. Luke said hi. I can see the chat, but you can't. Interesting. How can you see the chat and I can't? What the fuck? So everybody sees it but me. So I wonder if a setting got changed where I'm not seeing the chats. Because if you're just saying hi, they're not blocking those. So I did have a problem with the chats. I'll have to go through settings, I guess, and see what's going on. I know it blew up on me yesterday and it said chat's not available. And then I logged off the computer and logged back on, and it's been like this. So anyway, that's the thing. So I'll try to figure it out. But anyway, hi everybody. Have a good night. And I'm done. So www.teaserking.com. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow.